I've never quite seen anything like this. This was under a TPO roof. They don't glue down TPO roofs, and this piece I have in my hand probably weighs 20 pounds. Styrofoam. This roof's gonna be like, oh, thank you, Lord.
Yeah, right.
Get all that weight off of me. That's heavy. That's completely saturated with water. I don't know why it's so bad. It's the worst I've ever seen. And we tore off, and we tore off, and we tore off, and it was stuck like Chuck. Stuck like Chuck, a little at a time. I've never quite seen anything like this. This was under a TPO roof. They don't glue down TPO roofs, and this piece I have in my hand probably weighs 20 pounds. Styrofoam. This roof's gonna be like, oh, thank you, Lord.
Yeah, right.
Get all that weight off of me. That's heavy. That's completely saturated with water. I don't know why it's so bad. It's the worst I've ever seen. And we tore off, and we tore off, and we tore off, and it was stuck like Chuck. Stuck like Chuck, a little at a time. Easy over the edge. Easy over the edge. You don't want to sling that over the edge.
Too late. Too late.
6-inch overhang. Six-inch overhang. This rubber right here is going to pull back and go right up the face. Right up the face, making that transition really nice. Paul, I'm going to take him down. We're going to throw trash.
What I'm going to do?
Day 2, and it was a rough one. We took all that insulation board off this thing, off the mobile home part yesterday, and then we had to do it there today. But what we didn't know was it had shingles underneath the insulation board and the rubber, felt paper under that, and a whole bunch of rotten plywood. Then we came over here where somebody built a porch onto their mobile home, and that's literally what they did. They built a porch onto the mobile home. Of course, it leaked every time it rained. Every single time it rained, it would leak. So finally they put a rubber roof on it, but they used that TPO roofing. I'm not a fan of TPO. I know there are a lot of people out there that love it. I'm personally just not a fan of it. The roof that was up here was 10 years old, and it had pinholes in it, like probably 100 of them. All the white on the top of that TPO is just a sprayed on product, and it's sprayed onto a very thin layer of EPDM. And this is EPDM, and TPO has a very thin layer of EPDM with some white spray, which is just sprayed on, and over the years that spray will disappear just like that. See that? See, that used to be all white. That what's under that is very thin TPO rubber, and it comes in 6 foot wide, sometimes only 4 foot wide, and it looks like they put 4 foot wide ones up here. So from seam to seam, right around 4, maybe 5 feet. and they'd go across with a piece, and then they go across with another piece, and you can see the other seam that's out there at the end, so they had to put a small piece at the other end. And then they put termination bar, and they put it right in the gutters. See, that's right over where the gutter is, if you want to call that a gutter. That is not really a gutter. All mobile homes have them, but I don't consider it a gutter. But that is TPO. This is EPDM. I like the EPDM better. It's much thicker, it lasts longer, and we put the OSB under it. Makes it so solid. Look at this when I walk on this. I can walk anywhere on this roof now and not worry about. Even the man that lives here weighs about 250. He can walk anywhere he wants to on this roof. Sweep it off if you get leaves on it. For the most part, the leaves will just blow off when they dry. But right now we have it pinned down for the night with clamps everywhere. Clamps, 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 because we don't want this thing to blow off in the evening. So we clamped it all down, got it hanging over. You can see we already put termination bar down on that end. That's that metal bar that you see going across there. Yes, my hands are dirty. Dirty hands, but yes, that's called turn bar. This is not glued down yet, so it looks like it does. This section is none of this. This section is glued down. This is glued down. That piece over there glued down, and we still have to replace this piece. We're gonna cut this off tomorrow, put OSB on it. When you walk on this now, you can see it. Oh, roof moves. But once we put that OSB on top, it doesn't move anymore. And it'll be solid. Underneath this, I guarantee, is a whole lot of wet insulation board. I mean, tons of wet insulation. Not to mention, there are literally pinholes in this stuff everywhere. It's so thin. And that's the reason why it got so wet underneath of it. But this EPDM roof, I would guesstimate a good 30-year roof. And who wants to replace their roof any more than every other 30 years? That's another one over there somebody did years ago, but then they added gutters, which is probably a bad idea, and they didn't add an overhang like we did. They just put literally gutters on the side of their mobile home. I don't know how that worked. Apparently not too good, because they want me to give them a price on putting the new roof on it. And as you can see, it already has splits on it, so there's problems going on over there. Lots of problems, but we're going to give them an estimate on replacing that with the same thing we used on this roof here, with the 6-inch overhang like we did here. I love the 6-inch overhang and the 2x4 that goes around the outside edge. That just is to catch me out right there. See, 2x4. Now we're gonna come back here tomorrow and wrap all that stuff with metal, aluminum coil stock. We'll wrap this whole thing with aluminum coil stock, except for that bottom piece down there. We're not doing anything with that. That's the addition part. But the mobile home itself will have coil stock all the way around it.